This evening, first, cracking down on flashy rides. Police warns motorists that unauthorized LED lights and electronic displays are illegal and could cost drivers their certificate of fitness as enforcement tightens on road safety violations. Plus, no sympathy for traffickers. President Irfaan Ali backs international action against drug smuggling, even as deadly U.S. strikes and rising tension in the Caribbean sparked regional concern and Venezuela heads to the UN. Also, the opposition pushes back. APNU challenges the president's 5-year vision, questioning costs, timelines, and accountability, and insisting that big promises must translate into real relief for struggling households. And clearing the air, Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo dismisses rumors about his health, calling them false and politically motivated, as the government prepares to roll out its next economic agenda. And in the United States, a deadly campus shooting leads to the suspension of the green card lottery, as authorities says the system was exploited by the suspected gunman. Those stories and more straight ahead. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for December 19, 2025. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the Ghana Police Force's Traffic Department has issued a public advisory warning motorists that the installation and use of unauthorized LED light displays and electronic visual devices on vehicles constitute a breach of the prescribed fitness conditions and will attract enforcement action. In a statement, the department cautioned against the use of illuminated eyes, animated or moving images, scrolling lights, colored LED panels, and similar electronic display, noting that these devices are not approved under existing road traffic and vehicle fitness regulations. According to the traffic officials, the unauthorized lights pose serious safety risks, including distracting other road users, impairing drivers' visibility, particularly at night, and creating confusion with authorized emergency or warning lights. These factors, the department said, can significantly increase the likelihood of real traffic accidents. Motorists are reminded that a certificate of fitness is issued on the condition that vehicles comply fully with approved safety standards, the advisory stated. Any modification that falls outside of those standards is a violation. The Traffic Department has made it clear that ranks will take firm action against offenders. Measures may include prosecution, the immediate removal of unauthorized devices, and disqualification or revocation of a vehicle's certificate of fitness, rendering that vehicle illegal for use on public roadways. The warning comes amid broader efforts by the Ghana Police Force to strengthen road safety enforcement and reduce accidents caused by preventable hazards. Authorities are urging vehicle owners to ensure their vehicle remain compliant with the law. The Traffic Department stressed that road safety is a shared responsibility and is calling on motorists to help keep Ghana's road safe for all users. On a different note, President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali has reaffirmed Ghana's strong support for international efforts to combat drug trafficking as tensions rise in the Caribbean Sea following deadly U.S. military strikes against suspected narco-traffickers. More than 95 suspected traffickers have reportedly been killed during U.S. operations targeting vessels believed to be involved in the illegal drug trade. While the strikes have drawn criticism from some regional and international voices over their legality, President Ali said Ghana has absolutely no sympathy for drug traffickers. Speaking to reporters on the sidelines of an event on Wednesday, the president stressed that his administration's position remains unchanged, noting that drug trafficking and smuggling destroy lives, communities, and economies. He said Ghana maintains strong partnerships with the United States and other international allies to combat illegal trade in all forms. The developments come amid heightened regional unease following the U.S. seizure of an oil tanker and new sanctions targeting Venezuela. President Ali said U.S. actions are intelligence-driven and tied to its own sanctions regime, adding that such matters fall within Washington's authority. While regional leaders, including Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, have warned that instability could harm Caribbean economies, President Ali emphasized that his foremost responsibility is Ghana's national safety. He pointed to Venezuela's long-standing territorial claims and recent acts of aggression as ongoing threats. Ghana, he said, must work closely with allies to safeguard its sovereignty and protect its citizens. Venezuela has since requested an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council to address what it described as continued U.S. aggression. Moving on, a Partnership for National Unity coalition has issued a wide-ranging critique of President Irfaan Ali's recent national address, saying that the speech about the government's plans for the next 5 years sounded impressive, but did not clearly explain how those plans will be carried out. APNU believes the plan should have been taken to Parliament so elected representatives could properly question the costs, timelines, risks, and priorities. Instead, they say it was presented in a controlled setting that did not allow for real public or political scrutiny. While acknowledging the president's vision of using oil money, technology, and infrastructure to improve people's lives, APNU argues that the government has not been honest about its past performance. According to the opposition, despite increased spending, many Guyanese are still struggling with high living costs, unreliable services, and unmet promises. The coalition raised concerns about several announcements, including banking reform, taxes, cash grants, and significant projects, saying there is little detail on how these will work or who will be held accountable. APNU also questioned whether plans for healthcare, education, housing, energy, and security can succeed without addressing issues such as staff shortages, poor project quality, and weak oversight. Although the APNU welcomes some initiatives, such as support for persons with disabilities and bonuses for the joint services, it criticized the lack of similar benefits for other public servants. Overall, APNU says everyday expenses rather than big promises should be used to judge development and calls for greater transparency, accountability, and reliable delivery. Stick around when we return. Vice President Jagdeo dismisses health rumors, says he remains focused on government agenda, and new government service center opens in Region 3, improving access to public services.
The most wonderful time of the year, and we're celebrating with big savings on smartphones, starting as low as $16,500 for the Samsung A06 and $26,500 for the Samsung A16 and $40,500 for the A26. But wait, there's more. Get 1 month free data with your new phone to keep you close to loved ones near and far. Offer available while stocks last. Visit a Digicel store today and unwrap the gift of real connections. Digicel.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Check us out at Decor and Gift Gallery this Christmas holiday for all your shopping needs. We are located at 47 Craig and Sheriff Street, Campbellville, Georgetown.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing January 5, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you will be 18 years or older by December 31, 2025 and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM will be posting the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether the particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. It is an offense to make false objections. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Thursday, January 22, 2026. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Vice President Dr. Bharrat Jagdeo on Thursday firmly dismissed circulating rumors suggesting that he is unwell or battling cancer, describing the claims as false and politically motivated. Speaking during a press conference, Dr. Jagdeo addressed questions from the media and categorically stated that he is in good health. He said, "No, I am not ill. I have not been diagnosed with cancer," seeking to put an end to the speculations. Dr. Jagdeo attributed the rumors to elements within the political opposition and sections of society which he says were attempting to distract public attention from the government's ongoing work and achievements. He expressed concern over the spread of misinformation, warning that such claims can mislead citizens and cause unnecessary fear and anxiety. The Vice President reiterated his continued commitment in public service, noting that his work schedule remains unchanged. He said he is actively engaged in advancing the President's recent announcements and initiatives to improve the lives of Guyanese. According to Dr. Jagdeo, the government is placing strong emphasis on skills training, investment in entrepreneurial ventures, and the digital transformation of the health and education sectors, which will be detailed in the upcoming 2026 national budget. The Vice President's remarks come amid heightened public discourse on governance and development priorities as the administration prepares to roll out its next phase of economic and social programs. He urged the public to rely on credible sources of information and to remain focused on the country's development agenda. In other news, residents of Region 3 Demerara Essequibo will benefit from faster and more convenient access to essential government services with the opening of a new government service center at the West Central Mall in Lenora, West Coast, Demerara. The center was established in response to concerns raised by residents during a cabinet outreach in the region led by President Dr. Mohammed Irfaan Ali, where citizens highlighted challenges related to long travel distances, lengthy wait times, and bureaucratic delays when accessing public services. Minister of Finance Dr. Ashni Singh, along with the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, Irfaan Ali, toured the facility following its opening, underscoring the government's commitment to improving service delivery at the regional level. The new center offers a wide range of services under one roof, including passport applications, processing of birth and death certificates, issuance of marriage license, full services from the Ghana Revenue Authority, and registration for the National Electronic Identification Program. According to officials, the initiative is part of a broader government strategy to decentralize public services, reduce congestion at central offices, and make government services more accessible to communities across the country. The Government Service Center will operate Monday to Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Authorities have indicated that similar centers are planned for other regions as part of efforts to modernize public service delivery and ensure that citizens can access key services in a timely and efficient manner. Don't go away after the break. Marco Rubio's workload, first year as not just U.S. Secretary of State, and labor unrest grows in Argentina. Workers oppose president's economic plans.
Christmas runs on real connections with Digicel. The calls, the laughter, the joy, and the chance to pick and win big. We're giving away $12 million. Yes, every week, one lucky Digicel customer gets a chance to win up to $2 million. 6 lucky winners in total. Here's how you get in. Top up with $1,000 or more, or pay your fiber or postpaid bill in full. The more you top up, the more chances you get. Stay connected this Christmas for your chance to win big. Digicel.
Check us out at Decor and Gift Gallery this Christmas holiday for all your shopping needs. We are located at 47 Craig and Sheriff Street, Campbellville, Georgetown.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from modern optical services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing January 5, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE, if you will be 18 years or older by December 31, 2025, and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM will be posting the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can make a claim for registration, change or correction to your particulars, or you can object to the inclusion of anyone who you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. All GCOM registration offices will open Mondays to Fridays from 8 to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 14 hours. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins. Tonight, the UN warns Jamaica faces unprecedented damage weeks after Hurricane Melissa. Argentines protest as Congress debates major economic bills. Questions grow over Marco Rubio holding 4 senior U.S. roles. And U.S. authorities suspend the green card lottery after a deadly campus shooting. We begin in Jamaica. 50 days after Hurricane Melissa, the UN says Jamaica faces unprecedented damage estimated at 8 to 15 billion US dollars, nearly a quarter of the country's GDP. Over 600,000 people were affected, 45 killed, and 950 remain in shelters as homes, schools, tourism, and agriculture suffer severe ongoing disruptions. Demonstrators in Argentina gathered as Congress held a special session to debate a series of economic and labor bills. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bo reports.
Strike, 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 chanted thousands of people in the center of Buenos Aires. The demonstration was called by the largest labor union in Argentina to oppose President Javier Milei's plan to reform the country's labor laws. Other unions joined in.
The government wants to go back to the 19th century. They send a bill to Congress that violates the Constitution because the Constitution says to defend workers. Well, now they want to defend the business sector.
The government called for special parliamentary sessions in December to push for economic reforms.
Argentina's labor laws are amongst the most protective of workers in Latin America, and that's something that President Javier Milei wants to change to transform Argentina. But his plans concern people here, and this is why labor unions are at the center of today's political fight.
Milei says Argentina's labor laws are bureaucratic and prevent the creation of new jobs. The new labor bill proposes giving employers more flexibility to negotiate working hours and vacation. Also modify the system of severance pay to reduce costs for companies.
Anyone who looks at the labor market data will see that 50% of workers are unregistered. They cannot say they are losing benefits.
Gabriel Solano says any labor reform needs to be discussed thoroughly, but that's not what the government wants.
The government says that the labour costs are too high. I think they're wrong. Salaries are low, there is a drop in consumption, pensions are low, and the government wants to help companies to lay people off. We have to do the contrary of what Javier Milei wants.
On Thursday evening, the government postponed the debate on Congress until February. Labor unions say they are ready to fight against it again on the streets. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
Marco Rubio took on one of the most unusual workloads in the US, serving not only as Secretary of State, but 3 other senior posts. As he marks a year in charge of Washington diplomacy, questions persist about whether one person can run 4 institutions effectively. Al Jazeera Assad Bey reports.
Marco Rubio's first year as US Secretary of State has been anything but conventional. In addition to being America's top diplomat, he's also the National Security Advisor and the acting head of the National Archives. And until September was the acting administrator of the US Agency for International Development. Responsibilities that would usually be shared between multiple senior officials. Together, these roles give Rubio sweeping influence over how the US engages with the world, from humanitarian aid and diplomatic strategy to intelligence assessments and preserving historical records.
And we're grateful that you would travel.
On the war in Ukraine, Rubio has championed a tougher stance on Russia, pushing for faster weapons deliveries and longer-term US commitment to Kyiv. Supporters say he's brought clarity and urgency. Critics argue he's sidelining diplomatic options and pushing the US deeper into a protracted conflict. In Venezuela, Rubio, a former senator from Florida, is widely viewed as a driving force behind US policy. He's advocated for maximum pressure on the government of Nicolas Maduro through sanctions, coordinated regional diplomacy, and increased support for opposition groups and border region humanitarian relief.
Gracias.
That approach has won influence in South America, but also accusations of increasing polarization and worsening Venezuela's economic crisis. On Gaza, Rubio has been among the strongest voices in support of Israel's war goals, calling for the eradication of Hamas and no future role for the Palestinian group in the future governance of the territory.
Secretary.
Each of the 3 major US government institutions Rubio oversees demands full-time leadership. Analysts say the overlapping appointments have allowed him to centralize US foreign policy decision-making to a degree rarely seen in modern administrations. But it has also raised questions about accountability, oversight, and whether any official can realistically juggle so many critical roles. Still, Rubio's allies say the arrangement reflects confidence from the White House and argue that his assertive, security-focused approach has defined America's stance in a year of global crises. As he enters his 2nd year, the question remains, can Marco Rubio continue to manage Washington's most powerful national security portfolios? And what impact will that have on US policy abroad? Assad Beg, Al Jazeera.
US Homeland Security has suspended an annual green card lottery system, saying it was used by the suspected gunman in an attack in Rhode Island last week. 2 students were killed and 9 injured in the shooting at Brown University. The suspect attacker, a Portuguese national with permanent residency in the US, was found dead in Salem, New Hampshire after almost a weeks-long manhunt. Al Jazeera Charles Stratford reports.
Found dead in a storage facility. the chief suspect in a shooting that prompted a 6-day manhunt across multiple U.S. states.
That individual was identified as Claudio Neves Valenti, date of birth, and he was a 48-year-old man. He was a Brown student, he was a Portuguese national, and his last known address was in Miami, Florida. And I will tell you that he took his own life tonight.
Police cordoned off the area around Brown University, Rhode Island on December the 13th after 2 students were shot dead and another 9 injured. Students were moved to another location, the campus locked down, and investigations began. Valente had studied for a doctorate in physics at the prestigious Ivy League institution around 25 years ago. Investigators also believe he killed a professor, Nuno Loureiro, at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology 2 days later in a suburb of Boston 80 kilometers north. The 2 men had been classmates in Portugal more than 2 decades ago before Valente travelled to the US to continue his academic career. As the manhunt intensified, police released CCTV footage of the chief suspect, his face covered by a surgical mask. As the suspect's death was announced, the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced she was suspending the visa program under which Valente entered the US in 2017. According to the State Department, the so-called Green Card Lottery grants up to 55,000 permanent resident visas every year to people from countries with low rates of immigration to the US.
Immediately following Professor Loureiro's murder, Neves Valente drove to a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire, where he had rented a storage unit in November of this year. No, when investigators went into the storage facility tonight to execute the federal search warrant, he was dead.
Investigators say Valente had used a mobile phone that was harder to track and had not used credit cards linked to his name, making him more difficult to trace. Officials also said he had switched the number plates on his rental car to avoid being caught. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
Thanks, Dominic. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it with 2 Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other and do have a wonderful weekend.